welcome back to Book Break, and get into your pyjamas because in this video I'm going to tell you about a bunch of books that are perfect for reading right before bed. We all know that reading in bed is really good for you, really good for helping you get to sleep, so turn off those screens right after you finish this video of course and grab a book to drift off with. My first recommendation is honestly the best suggestion. That is this anthology, Sleepily Ever After. This is a collection of classics that are bedtime stories for grown-ups. All the stories in here have been really carefully chosen to help you unwind before bed. They all have happy endings, they have gentle humour, they have characters making good choices, nothing that is going to get you worked up or too excited before bed. There are classics in here from authors like Oscar Wilde, H.G. Wells, Virginia Woolf, Ellen Montgomery, and so many more. So you can read one little story before bed and you will be perfectly ready to drift off to sleep. To contrast with this tiny book, I've got a very chunky bedside book here. This is a poem for every night of the year. So it's still a similar idea. You can have one little bite-sized reading experience before bed every night. This is a really gorgeous book, as you can see, and all of the poems in here have been collected by Ali Aziri and assigned to different nights of the year. And she's written a little explanation before each one as well. I'm going to look up my birthday, always the first thing I do in books like this. On the night of my birthday, I will be reading The Lake Isle of Innisfree by W.B. Yeats. Looking forward to that. What's the Christmas one? Oh, the Christmas one is the 12 Days of Christmas. That is so perfect. Did you know it was originally published without music? It was published as a poem. Really lovely book to have on your bedside table. If you want something a little bit more interactive, having a journal by your bedside table is a really great idea, and this is a beautiful one, Journey by Paulo Coelho. This is described as a journal of discovery, so it's a really nice, gentle activity before bed. You can answer a different question. So the first one I've opened to here, what do you want most in life? And it gives you a page to think about and write out what you want most in life. There's also little quotes from Paulo Coelho scattered throughout the book as well. Reflect on your blessings. Are there any you've taken for granted? That's a really nice thing to think about before bed. So that's another gorgeous one I would add to the bedside table stack. If you like the idea of having something interactive to do, but you're not sure about writing a journal, maybe you think that'll be a bit too much brain power for you before bed, then this would be a gorgeous book for your bedside table, the Mindfulness Moments colouring book. Colouring is such a lovely, calming activity anyway, and the designs in here are deliberately designed to be anti-stress, and there's little mindfulness activities in here as well. For example, colouring in these shirts, and then thinking about ironing them, noticing the crumples as they turn smooth under the iron, listening to the hiss of the steam in the air. It's got some little meditation suggestions in here, just a really lovely, calming book. Everything has been blue so far. It's a very bedtime colour, isn't it? The book What I Know For Sure by Oprah Winfrey is a collection of some of Oprah's most inspirational insights from over the years. So it's full of revelations, but it won't get you all revved up and motivated to jump out of bed. These are really lovely things to think about and realise gently while you unwind ready for sleep. On a similar theme, Notes from Your Therapist by Alison Dineen is a book about feelings. This is based on the Instagram account run by Alison Dineen, who is a professional therapist. So these are all really great notes of advice. Some of them are quite personal. We have Alison exploring her own feelings here and kind of showing you how you can explore your feelings and where they come from. Some of them are advice. Sometimes we have actual pages here that summarise some of the top tips. So again, a really lovely bite-sized one to read before bed. You can read just a few of these notes and then go to bed feeling calmer and more sure of yourself. You might find it interesting to read some books about sleep. So for example, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker is a really popular book, or Why We Dream by Alice Robb. I will say as a note, do not read either of these titles before bed if you are an anxious insomniac who really wants to be able to sleep but just lies awake worrying about it. Then these probably won't help you. But if you just more need convincing to go to sleep, then books like this would be perfect. Why We Dream is really interesting because it dives into the science of why we dream, what those dreams do for us, how they can actually affect our waking lives as well. If you are an anxious insomniac, then my recommendation for you instead would be something like Rest by Alex Sujung Kim Pang. That book is more about rediscovering the importance of deliberate rest in your life. So even if you're not able to actually drift off while you're lying in bed, you're still really benefiting. And I bet once that realization makes you feel super relaxed, you will soon be fast asleep anyway. If you prefer to read fiction before bed, but you don't want something that's going to keep you turning the pages way past your bedtime, then short stories are a really great way to go. I've done a ton of videos recommending short stories recently on Book Break, so I'm not going to say them again here, but I will link below to all of the short story videos that we have made recently. Those are a really great thing to have on your bedside table because you can read just one story and then you know you're closing the book and going to sleep. One of the videos I'm going to link below was about short stories you can listen to on audiobook, which is a really great idea for bedtime. You can actually set a timer to stop at the end of that story so you can drift off to sleep without worrying about the rest of the book playing. Similarly to that, you could read a book with really defined chapters that don't end on cliffhangers. Girl, Woman, Other is a really good example of this by Bernardine Evaristo. I loved this book. It's a really long book, so this will last you quite a few bedtimes. While all of the chapters are linked together, this is a novel, another short story collection. Each chapter follows a new character with their own storyline, so you're not too tempted to keep reading for just one more chapter. And finally, I couldn't resist putting in some nostalgic childhood favourites in here. These are great to read before bedtime. They would definitely send me to sleep. Peace at Last by Jill Murphy is the book that I most remember being read to me when I was younger. It's all about the Bear family just trying to get some sleep. And a really beloved classic is Goodnight Moon. I know so many people get so nostalgic about this one. Comment below if you remember Goodnight Moon being in your childhood. So, having gone through that whole pile of books, I'm feeling pretty sleepy now. I'd love to know your recommendations of the types of books that you love to read at bedtime. Do leave those in a comment below, and I will link here to the video I talked about, which was short stories to listen to on audio. So I think that is the perfect bedtime treat. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel because we post 2 new videos every week, and see you next time.